Hello and welcome to Star Inside News. Today we are going to share Tarnishing the Crown, the messy truth about the end of Princess Diana and Princess Charles' marriage. The Crown 5th season takes on Prince Charles and Princess Diana, agonizing road to separation and divorce in the 1990s. The Crown has been steadily chugging along, telling the story of Queen Elizabeth II, high and lows as wife, mother, daughter, sister, and above all else monarch. Most events ripped from reality and the blank intuitively filled in by Netflix series writer, but it was really all just leading up to season 5, which covers the chapter of the royal family story where the gentle action went speculatory off the rails. Though as fascinating it was when Prime Minister John Major pushed back against the Queen's request for a yacht renovation on the government dime. Of course, we are talking about the collapse of Prince Charles and Princess Diana marriage, which, as seen the Crown 4th season, was on shaky footing before they ever said their I do in 1981. Still, after tying the knot in front of 3,500 people at St. Paul Cathedral plus another 750 million tuning in on TV, the couple settled in for the presumed long haul. They traveled the world, became parents to Prince William and Prince Harry, and carried out the duties expected of the Prince and Princess of Wales. I have got what my mother got, Diana explained in the interview tape she made her for biographer Andrew Morton in 1991. However bloody you are feeling, you can put on the most amazing show of happiness. How did Princess Diana describe her marriage to Prince Charles? Diana detained a vicious cycle to Morton from day one. She felt unsupported by her husband in her witty new role. She also didn't trust him, convinced he was still romantically involved with his married ex Camilla Parker Bowles. In turn, Diana continued, Charles was dismissive of what she acknowledged were her blatant cries for help, including instances of self-harm such as throwing herself down the stair when she was pregnant with William in 1982. Charles accused of crying wolf, she said. Even he was at loss as how to help his wife. Charles did arrange for Diana to see a psychiatrist in the fall of 1982. He wrote to a friend, per Jonathan Dimley, 1994 biography, The Princess of Wales, the trouble is one day I think some steps are being made uphill only to find that we have slid back 1.5 steps the following day. Intense love for her children aside, Diana described the 2-year stretch between William being born and Harry birth in 1984 as the total darkness. I can't remember much. I have bloated it out. It was such a pain. Yet at the same time she was undoubtedly coming into her own as a public figure. Her uncanny ability to connect with people, making her far more popular than her husband. Because I made a smile on my face, everybody thought I was having a wonderful time, Diana reflected to Morton. That's what they choose to think. It made them happier thinking that. What was the nature of Charles and Camilla relationship during his marriage to Diana? Diana was livid when she found a bracelet Charles intended to give Camilla before their wedding. He assured her it was just a token acknowledging their in the past history together, and yes, he'd be delivering it in person. According to Dimley, by when Charles brought Camilla the bracelet in July 1981, it was the first time he had seen her since his engagement was announced in February. I never dealt with that side of things, Diana recalled to Morton. I just said to him, you must always be honest with me. Diana said she did confront her perceived rival, though at a 40th birthday party for Camilla's sister, she recalled telling Camilla, I would just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on, and Camilla replied, I don't know what you are talking about. By the beginning of the 90s, Charles and Camilla were fully, if theoretically secretly, back on, and Diana was not the only one who assumed they had been an affair. According to the Prince of Wales Charles, closest friends suspected as much, as did one or two members of his own family. Dimbleby wrote, who warned the prince an illicit liaison would be damaging to his own standing and to the institution of which he was so crucial a member. Charles told Dimbleby in a June 1994 TV interview that he wed Diana fully intending to be committed to his wife, and that he did not resume his romance with Camilla until their marriage was irretrievably broken, us both having tried. Camilla, Charles said, has been a friend for a very long time and will continue to be a friend for a very long time. Diana told her confidant and rumored former lover, James Gilby, Morton Diana, her true story in her own word. If I let it get to me, I will just upset myself more. So the things to do is to involve myself in my work, get out and stop. If I stop to think, I'll go mad. What happened during the year leading up to Charles and Diana's separation? The Crown 5th season picks up in 1991 when Charles and Diana, Dominic West and Elizabeth Debicki and their boys embarked on an idyllic-looking cruise along the Italian coast that palace staffers helped frame to press as a second honeymoon for the couple. You are very aware everyone has a strong opinion about what happened and whose side they are on. West told the New York Times of the fraught territory covered in the controversial upon arrival new season. It's a bit of minefield. Charles, an avid artist, has already been on sketching trip to Tuscany earlier in the year, and tabloids found out that Camilla spent several days in a villa that was a 30-minute drive away. When they went to Italy as a family, Diana told Morton, Charles regularly phoned Camilla from the yacht. Diana's collaboration with Morton was also getting underway. The princes, upon hearing that the former tabloid journalist was planning a biography of her anyway, that given the okay to her inner circle to cooperate with the project, and she shockingly agreed to participate as well, albeit entirely in secret. Her longtime friend, Dr. James Colthurst, brought her Morton question and then delivered the tapes back to the writer. Initially I sat and I read out the question, but that was too slow for Diana. Colthurst told NBC News in 2004. She snatched the question away from me and then clipped the microphone onto herself, and the tape recorder was on. Away she went. Christmas with the royal family at Sandringham in 1991 wasn't exactly the pivotal, hallucinatory couple of the day. The 2021 film Spencer, featuring Kristen Stewart, Oscar-nominated portrayal of the princess, would suggest, but Diana really was trying to figure out how to be free and married to Charles at the same time. I think I am going to cut a very different path from everyone else, she predicted to Morton. I am going to break away from this setup and go and help the man on the street. That sounds so condescending, she added, but I am being pushed more and more that way. Charles and Diana's paths had indeed diverged and were at times viewed to be competing, such as when Charles sent flowers to Mother Teresa when she was convalescing at a hospital in Rome in January 1992, and Diana flew to visit her in person. The disconnect continued when the pair traveled to India together. That February sight of Diana in famous solo photo op outside the Taj Mahal. When asked why she described the sojourn as the healing experience, she told the reporter gathered around that they could work out for themselves. Per Morton, Diana no longer felt comfortable around her husband's staff, worrying they were watching and judging her every move. She started opening her own mail and sending scented candles as token of thanks instead of writing letters, for fear they had been used against her. She also thought long and hard before going anywhere with anyone, especially any man, weighing with whether it was worth the inevitable headlines. How did Andrew Morton book affect Charles and Diana marriage? Diana driven to five suicide bids by uncaring Charles. Read the first headlines from Sunday Magazine Times, which celebrarized Morton book starting June 7. Before its publication June 16, the extent of Charles' involvement with Camilla was also on unprecedented display. Tina Brown reported in her 2007 book, The Diana Chronicles, that Morton asked for proof before he took Diana's words about an affair. So the princess brought him letters from Camilla that Charles had saved. The publishing team was instantly persuaded that the affair was real, Brown wrote. The Sunday Times editor Andrew Neil also told Dimbleby that he did not initially believe Diana's claim about suffering from bulimia and attempting suicide, but Morton stood by every word and produced statements from numerous people quoted in the book, arresting to its accuracy. Having purposely never met Morton, Diana maintained Danny ability. The Queen's private secretary and Diana's brother-in-law, Lobet Fellows, also shut down rumors that she was involved, paving the way for the press complaints commission statement, slamming the odious exhibition of journalists dabbing their fingers in the stuff of other people's soul. Morton had agreed to the subterfuge and kept the prince's confidence even as he was publicly raked over the coals, accused of everything from outright fabrication to trying him to ruin the royal family of MVS were keen to see me locked away in the tower, he recalled in a later edition. The in her own words part of the title was also added after Diana's death along with the transcript. I felt she was very hard done by Charles and the royal family, Morton told the Belfast Telegram in 2017 upon the release of the 25th anniversary edition, which was 3 times as long as the 150-page original, so I had no qualms about supporting her. Dimbleby wrote that even after the Morton book came out, Charles was telling friends that he hoped his marriage would survive, at least for the sake of their children and the monarchy, even if they basically led separate lives, opposed to a divorce, but understanding that the things could not go on as they were. The Queen and Prince Philip and advised the younger couple to give themselves 3 months to see if they could reconcile. What was Squiddy Gate? The spectacle went from bad to worse in August 1982 when the Sun published a transcript of a leaked phone conversation allegedly between Diana and an unidentified admirer from December 31, 1989. The Mail called her darling 53 times and Squid Guy or Squid G 14 times during the course of the chat, as Diana lamented that her husband was making her life real torture. The man on the phone was identified as Gilby, who was subsequently trashed by the press, but resolutely never commented on the scandal, even to Morton. More from the Squid Guy conversation was aired on Australian TV in March 1993, the day before Diana left on a trip to Nepal, her first post-split solo engagement. This time the Queen and Philip met with Charles and Diana at Balmoral to sign off on an unofficial separation. Charles agreed to move out of Kingston Palace and the estranged pair would be free to go to their separate ways, converging necessarily for the kids and events such as Trooping the Colours. Yet the show also went on and Charles and Diana embarked on an official trip to South Korea at the end of October, quietly promoted by Charles' staff to several papers at the Togetherness Tour. While successful on his diplomatic phase, Dimbleby wrote, both the prince and princess were aware that their lovelessness was the only story in Britain while they were away. There was much ado about the paperback edition of the Morton book, containing for the first time mention of several though love letters Philip wrote to Diana. She later publicly defended her in-law, saying in a statement, the suggestion that they have been anything other than sympathetic and supportive is untrue and particularly hurtful. She and Charles flew to Hong Kong, but she did not stay, instead traveling on to London on his flight back to the UK on November 8, 1982. Charles wrote to a friend, I don't know what will happen from now on, but I dread it. When did Princess Diana and Princess Charles formally separated? Diana ultimately agreed to a legal separation on November 25, the day after the Queen gave her historic annus horribilis speech. During the ensuing week, Diana visited William and Harry at Glengrove School in Berkshire so she could tell them in person before it became international news. John Major, who had advised the Queen on the split constitutional implication, there were none, announced the breakup of the Prince and Princess of Wales' marriage to the House of Commons in December 9, 1992. This decision has been reached amicably, the Prime Minister said, and they will both continue to participate fully in upbringing of their children. The Queen and Philip, though saddened, understand and sympathize with the difficulties that have led to this decision. The PM continued, Her Majesty and His Royal Highness particularly hope that the intrusion into the privacy of the Prince and Princess may now cease. Major raised some eyebrows, however, when he noted that the line of succession remained intact and there is no reason why the Princess of Wales should not be crowned Queen in due course. Talking to Maul on Sunday in October, Major encouraged a boycott of Season 5 of The Crown, singling out the subplot in which Charles schemes to get the Queen to abdicate as particularly offensive and calling any suggestion that Charles tried to mess with his mother region a barrel load of malicious nonsense. Johnny J. Miller portrayed the Queen. 9th p.m. What was Tampon Gate exactly? Charles and Diana marriage may have been over for all intent and purposes, but the intrusion did not cease. In January 1993, making for the family's second gate 6 months, multiple tabloids published the transcript from a surreptitiously recorded December 17, 1989 phone call between Charles and Camilla, in which he mused about how nice it would be to live inside her trouser, but he cracked with his luck he'd probably be reincarnated as her tampon. The former future king and queen consort were mocked far and wide. Dana Carvey played Charles' dress as a tampon on Saturday Night Live, and even the prince witness to rule one day was called into question. A Gallup poll put his approval rating at 4% in the wake of humiliation pre-engagement to Diana in 1980. 70% of poll responded picked Charles as their favorite royal. Charles lamented to Camilla during the same conversation that loving him had meant that she suffered all these indignities and tortures and calumnies, to which she replied, I suffer anything for you, that's love, it's the strength of love. While Gilby and therefore Squidgate was left out of The Crown, this particular scandal made it on Olivia Williams playing Camilla this season. Why did Diana look like after the separation? Diana tried to be away from London as much as possible in 1993, going to Nepal in March and Zimbabwe in July on official tours, then vacationed in Bali and took William and Harry to the United States, where their itinerary included a visit to Disney World. At a charity luncheon in December 1993, Diana announced her intent to withdraw from public life, at least temporarily, explaining that she needed time and space to process everything that she had. She emerged a few months later at the Chick Serpentine Gallery located on the ground of Hyde Park, Kensington Garden, so the most convenient destination possible for the Kensington Palace resident, for a reception where, according to Morton Oscar winner Jeremy Irons told Diana he took a year off from acting, and she replied, so I have. Why was Diana memorable? LBD called her revenge dress. In 1994, Dimbleby interviewed the Princess of Wales for the documentary Charles, the Private Man, the Public Role to commemorate at the 25th ceremony of his investiture. On the night the special aired, June 29, 1994, Diana tipped off barehand that Charles had admitted to his affair with Camilla on camera, showed up at the Serpentine Gallery for a vanity party in a short black off-the-shoulder Christiana Stambolian number with a plunging for a royal sweetheart necklace. According to Princess Diana dresses, the auction Stambolian said Diana had the dress hanging in her closet for the 3 years, but worried it was too racy to actually wear. Revenge is chic. Harold Dead, the Sun, DI last night showed Charles what he is missing, and the Crown have been remiss to not include one of Diana's most legendary fashion moments. It provoked something in me as an actor, DeBakey told Entertainment Weekly of recreating the look. I can't really explain it. It's pretty incredible that a dress would represent a moment in history, or that this human life would represent so much and become so iconic. So that was a big day on set for me. Did Princess Diana explosive 1995 BBC interview really led to her divorce? Diana, hour-long interview with Martin Bashir on the BBC Panorama, during which she flooded the room with tea, let alone spilled it. It was widely viewed as the last straw for the royal family when it came to her and Charles' still technically married status. Diana covered much of the same territory from the Martin book, her bulimia, depression, Charles' future as king, Camilla, but also shockingly acknowledged her own extramarital affair with her and her son, former riding instructor James Hewitt. 4 weeks after Diana told the world there were 3 of us in the marriage, the Queen wrote to both her son and daughter-in-law to tell them it was time to divorce, signing the letter to Diana with love from Mama. The next day, December 19, Charles wrote to Diana per Sally Bedell-Smith 2017 biography, Prince Charles, asking her to join him in putting an end to their sad and complicated situation. Even after the separation in 1992, Diana has still spent every Christmas at Sandringham to make the holiday normal for William and Harry, but she chose not to join the royal in 1995. How complicated was Charles and Diana's divorce? On February 28, 1996, the saddest day of my life, Diana called it. The Prince's office announced that she had agreed to Prince Charles' request for a divorce. The release also divulged she would be retaining her Princess of Wales title, as well as her home at Kingston Palace and office at St. James Palace. Notably, similarly to Buckingham Palace, these are complicated issues that will take time to work through. Response to Harry and Meghan Markle 2020 announcement that they were stepping back from royal duties. The palace did not immediately confirm the particulars of Diana's statement, instead noting this will take time. Already peeved that Diana had jumped the gun, Bedell-Smith reported the Queen had her press secretary pointedly deny report that she and Philip pressured Diana to drop the honorific Her Royal Highness, saying the decision to drop the title is the Prince's and the Princess alone. And hammering out the terms did not take time. The next update came July 13, 1996. Diana would retain her home and office, share custody of her son with her ex-husband, and receive the reported sum of at least $22 million plus yearly office expense of $60,000. And yes, Diana was still Princess of Wales, but she would no longer go to HRH. Per Bedell-Smith, Diana planned on fighting for the HRH but dropped it when then 14-year-old William assured her it didn't matter to him. She would still be regarded as a member of the royal family, the palace stated. Charles and Diana marriage officially ended in August 28. Tension eased once the negotiations were behind them, and they reunited without incident for the Christmas service as Eton and William confirmation in the spring of 1997, but told grudges lingered. On June 23, 1997, 2 months before she died, Diana attended a cocktail party at Christie in New York to celebrate the upcoming charity auction of a number of her dresses. When fellow guests commented on the Verdura bracelet she was wearing gold with a diamond clasp of interlocking C, she quipped, "That is for Charles and that is for Camilla." If you like the video, kindly like, comment, share and subscribe.